You said tap video. Gmail.com. Professor. I just want to let you know we're going to be outbound very soon. But if they ask questions about the book, tell them this is important first before we deal with that. Did you get the invitation, sir?
On the continent to work hand in hand. We really, from what they say to me, the salvation of Africa. Africa is very tribal. One thing about us, we're everything, but we don't really identify with any tribes or ethnic groups. They're not tribes, they're ethnic groups. And so we don't have allegiance to houses, to people, because we don't really know them ourselves. We just know our ancestors, Africa, but we claim them all. They all claim us. And we're one of the, because we have been here in the desert, for the least.
You're not on camera yet.
Better than any other black people on the face of the earth. I would say African Americans and Haitians. I love Haitians.
Don't forget the Jamaicans. Don't forget the Jamaicans.
I said don't get the Jamaicans, but
Yeah, don't forget the Jamaicans.
you know, I have to put Haitians up on the top shelf. They did something no other people in history have done. There has never in history been a conglomeration of people who have been enslaved, who have been captured and enslaved, and then turn around and do the three people in the nation at the same time. England, they beat England. They beat Napoleon Bonaparte. They say the great Napoleon Bonaparte was one of the greatest military geniuses. And he sent his brother-in-law with 50,000 men to Haiti.
Yes,
He
hello.
goes and take the niggas out. Don't worry about it.
Hello?
Napoleon Bonaparte was 50,000 men at the hands of World War II and those who followed
The other one that we just recorded.
Spanish. There's never been a more evil people
The look
than the Spanish.
the thing was cut out. Yes.
And
Wireless.
Napoleon the Spanish. What he did, he played one off against the other.
Hello?
Yeah, he beat him. He played one on the other one for his arms, his positioning,
Was he filming
and
there before?
he took them all down, one after another. So we are a great.
Doesn't this friend have a camera
I gotta find out how long we're gonna be down because I want.
presented before?
We're about to come back.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. I want Reverend Oliver really to speak with us, but I think we're reconnected. And you gotta remember, you don't really know what's going on because we don't own these telephone lines, all this stuff goes journey through European systems and they can cut them off when they get back. They really can.
Okay.
All right, we're good, thank you.
Ready now.
Oh, we ready for this?
Are ready?
Let me bring you up a mic. They're ready for some questions. But first, we're gonna take a word from you ready?
I'm trying to repeat.
First, we want Reverend Oliver
That's the thing.
to speak. Simon, will you put that so Professor Weebo can hear Reverend Oliver? Tell John Reverend Oliver is listening to speak. Let me give you a little background on Reverend Oliver. I was saying that Reverend Oliver is one of the few foundation builders that's still alive, that actually Reverend Oliver called folk to stay out of downtown Birmingham, Alabama, that brought Birmingham, Alabama to its knees at a time when black people couldn't ride a bus, they couldn't vote. Only thing the white folk wanted them to do was spend their money and obey them and do what they told them. It was Reverend Oliver who was there in Birmingham, Alabama before Dr. King called for that bus, and he's one of the pillars of the Birmingham, Alabama bus boycott. There's so much more I could say to you because he didn't just stop there. He came on here to New York, was involved in the Ocean Hill-Brownville struggle, and became chairman of the board of the Ocean Hill-Brownville struggle, along with Al Van, G.T. Lucy, Roni McCoy. Some of these names you probably know. But without further ado, Reverend Oliver.
Minister Clemson, I'm going to make a request of the elders. May I have your permission to address you while seated? All right. Then may I have a chair? And is it possible to have a small table here that I can lay these books on? I'm not going to keep you long, but I want to share with you some things. Yeah, that's fine. I want to share with you some things that have come to my mind over the years and bring me, along with Professor Oyibo, to see things clearer. Because in interacting with him and Minister Clemson Brown, I have come to a clearer understanding, not perhaps as good as I should, but clearer understanding. Been talking for years with Minister Clemson Brown, years about Daggett. So I'm just slowly learning. But I would like to say, you've already heard from Minister Brown, I was born and reared in Birmingham, Alabama. And in 1948, I went to jail for allowing white people to come into the church that I was serving and sit down, not segregated. I went to jail for that in 1948. I didn't like that because that meant that in my head, my future career was ruined because I was preparing for the ministry, and I realized that no church is going to call a man who's been to jail in 1948. They'll do it now. They do it in 1950, 60, but not in 1948. You are a jailbird, so you are shut off from the ministry. However, I didn't know that 6 years later, Martin Luther King would come on the scene, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, and they took people to jail by the hundreds and eventually thousands. So it became a badge of honor to have gone to jail in those days. Now, we've heard a very excellent presentation from Professor Oyibo, and I was hoping that we would continue in get into the question and answer period with him, but we didn't get to do that. But I've been trying to find out how to put his thoughts and my thoughts together in a way that we can more clearly understand them. And I appreciate learning from him, from Dr. Yibo, new terms, and one in particular is Jim Crow. And what that means. I was still hung up on always using the term the white man, the white man, the white man. That becomes, you have to sound bad after a while. But there's another term that means the same thing as Jim Crow. I said, hey, that's clever, that's strong. So, we're not limited to using the term the white man this, the white man that, because people eventually get turned off and say, oh, you just another racist. Can't do that with Jim Crow. But it means the same thing. I have been working on trying to find a title or a name for this group of people that has done so much harm to the world. And the European doesn't cover it all. It covers some of it, but it doesn't cover them all. But there's another term that I think is more inclusive than the European or the white man. And that is the Neanderthal man. Now they tell us that the Neanderthal man went extinct 40,000 years ago. But there are those who say that some of them are still here. I'd say a whole lot of them are still here. And so I have chosen to think of that mindset in a huge group of people that has certain limitations, and you can recognize the way they think. And when you know the way they think, then you want to avoid that and let them go ahead thinking that way. But we have to think another way. And I'd like to dwell on that a little bit now. One of the characteristics of the Neanderthal man is that he's not original. Get that? He's not original. He takes from others. He takes from other civilizations, from other cultures. He takes what is not his and turns it into his own and makes it his. And you heard what Professor Eagle said a little earlier, that Africans are not thieves, robbers, but Neanderthals are nothing but thieves and robbers.
Okay.
Steal cultures, they steal civilizations, and they stole even the Bible.
So,
The white man religion is not that. Nor was black. Ham was black. Ham means black in the Canaanite language. The Jews did not create Hebrew. The language was already there when they went into the land. And that is the language that came to be called Hebrew, but they didn't originate it. The Canaanites originated that. They had a land and a culture of their own. And the Jews moved in and took everything including their names, and expel them from the land, and then claim the land as their own and the language as their own. But Hebrew is really Canaanite. Canaanites were a black people. Moses was a black man. Abraham was a black man. He came from Ur of the Chaldees. And the Chaldees were black, and they were some of the most fierce warriors on the face of the earth. And God, Jehovah, said to his own people, the children of Israel, I'm going to turn you over to the Chaldeans and let them whip your behinds until you get straightened out. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the 12 tribes of Israel, they were all black. And yet, the Neanderthals have claimed them all and said they're all white. And now the Neanderthals are trying to say that the Egyptians, with their brilliant and proud civilization, that they were white. How are you going to say the Egyptians were white? The Egyptians are the Hamites, or the Kemites. And they gave unto us chemistry, history, medicine, everything that we have today. We owe it to ancient. So how can a group come along and name them all?
Any question?
Into white people. I'm trying to turn them into Neanderthals. And let me say that don't think the Neanderthals were stupid and crazy people. No, they were not stupid. They had sense. But they were limited when it came to originality. And that showed us right here in this country. Did black people go to Neanderthal to learn music? No. Other way around. Thank you. They didn't have to go to Europe to learn music. In fact, they went back to Babylonian music to get what they came to call their own. Babylonians had it all. The Babylonians were black people. The Ethiopians were black people. In fact, the Greeks, when they looked at them, called them burnt face. Burnt face. All they could say. And that's what the word Ethiopian comes from. I thought is to burn, and face is false.
You could argue.
So is a term that here are black people. Let me touch on the Song of Solomon. Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5, in the King James Version says, I am black but beautiful. When I was in Bible school, I saw that. I said something's wrong here. Because when you read the rest of the whole chapter, man, it's saying that this woman is absolutely so, she's so beautiful, she's so wonderful. And he described her head, her nose, her eyes, her teeth, her arms, navel, her legs, her feet. Everything was beautiful about her. That's why he wrote the Song of Solomon. That's the top song. He dedicated to her. You know who she was?
Yeah, I'm now on. Please, I'm on.
Her name, you're good.
Yeah, you can see me. You can see my picture.
Her name was.
I'm on. I'm on.
And that, she was a Canaanite. She was a black woman. And her Abi means my father, and Shag.
John, did you?
My father, Shag. So she was Abishag. And in England, if you go over there and hear and get the meaning of the word shag, It means that a man is so stunned by the beauty of the woman that he is simply out of his mind. That means you have been shagged. Well, Solomon was shagged by Abishag, and that term comes from Abishag. She was the one who kept David warm in his last days. She was the one that Solomon's half-brother wanted so bad that if he could get Abishag to be his wife, he could take the kingdom. And so he went to his mother, Bathsheba, and asked her to please ask a favor for Solomon, because Solomon had him under watch. Go and behave yourself and you'll be all right, but you go strong, you go away, and that's it for you. So he asked his mother to go and ask Solomon, can I have Abishag for wife? So she said, yes, I will do that. So she went and asked Solomon and said, can I ask you a favor? And Solomon said, go ahead, mother. And she said, would you give Abishag to Adonijah as his wife? And Solomon said, he's asked that for his life. Does he want to be king? The mother didn't see it, but Solomon saw it, and he sent his general to take his head off. That's him.
You're trying to call him. He's not.
He wanted Abishag. So she became the woman of the king of Solomon. Now, what color was she? She says, I am black and beautiful, not black but. And I had to study Hebrew to find out that one little letter that stands straight like a finger can be, it's a hook, it can be a but or an and, but you have to get the context to find out whether it is a but or an and. And when you read the whole book, or small book of 8 verses of the Song of Solomon, she's so beautiful. So he couldn't be saying of her, you're black, but you're beautiful, or you're beautiful, but you're black. So that's what the King James translators did to the Bible. They said, I am black, but beautiful. What a terrible thing for us to have to live with for over 400 years. They stole from the Bible and made black a curse. And we're still struggling with that curse. Now, that's in Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. If you move over to the 5th chapter and the 11th verse, you'll find something else that you need to know. You're not writing anything down. I hope you remember this. But in the 5th verse, 5th chapter, and 11th verse, she speaks of her beloved's hair as bushy and black as a raven. Now she's saying his hair was bushy and his hair was black as a raven.
Hello, Professor John.
A raven? Can't get no blacker. Well, what same word that is used, it's used twice in the Bible. In Song of Solomon 1:5, where it is said of the woman, I am black and common, and that same word is used, that's used in the 5th chapter, in 11th verse, describing his hair. So she was black as a raven.
And Oyo promised to call it
She
5
wasn't
o'clock.
anything in between. Yeah, black, raven black, and so beautiful that he just had to write a whole book about her.
Professor Oyo promised to call it 5 o'clock.
Go ahead, that.
It's for 4.
And we have been struggling with it ever since.
Remind Professor Oyo the agreement you call Professor Isa 5 o'clock.
From 5 is about black people. I'm going to throw out black
I
people.
can without you.
This writings of this
Their facility, if you call him, he will answer you.
So,
Can you go over that again, please?
and they believe it.
Before we go.
Now, Yeah, what's black, whatever. Israel were black people. Moses was a black man. And on down through the history, they're black. And they haven't changed. You want to ask a question? Go ahead.
Where's the mic?
My question is, if the book is distorted, which book should you use?
Listen, you better read the whole of it. When I said Abraham was a black man.
Oh, I'm not disputing.
Okay?
You said that the King James Version was distorted by the writers of King James Commission.
I see.
Right.
So which version?
Which version do you recommend that black people keep from if that Bible is distorted?
I'm glad you asked that question because.
Yes. My question was, if the book is distorted and there's many different lies that you probably can try to find in the Bible, then which book has the truth?
Okay. This is the New Revised Standard Version. King James, don't buy it. And most all of the others still say black but beautiful.
Who is the title that,
Yeah, who was the one that revised this book, and what is the revisions? That they put black people back into the Bible?
They put, I am black and comma, they put that in the Bible. This is I think there are two other, but this is the New Revised Standard Version. New Revised Standard Version. And it's very clear. I am black, I am beautiful and black. Period. That's in this one.
Okay.
Now, how did it get here? I just make this point. How did it get into this Bible?
Right is number down.
Oh, well, it got in this Bible through this book that's called No Flesh Shall Glory. I wrote this in 1949, and I went through
We are going to call him from here.
studies in the Old Testament. I went through all of the major commentaries that Neanderthals or Europeans have to study when they go to seminary or Bible school. I went through every single one of them and showed how they mistranslate black and how they turn black into something evil and bad. Nobody else has ever done this. But I did it in this book. And I believe that this is the source of their changing it. True, I am black and beautiful because my analysis is denied. So this version of the verse.
So this new standard book, I'm still speaking.
Yeah, sorry.
So this new standard book is not, it's the same words, but it's worded different as far as black and beautiful, and so it's the same verses, just
Basically, yes.
okay.
A few other changes, some I don't like, but this basically it's the same thing, but not with that glaring mistranslation of I am black.
All right. So I seen you mention something about the black skin and the woolly hair, right?
Yeah.
The woolly hair is an attribute of a black person. So,
Right.
Okay, so what about black people with straight hair? Are they considered to be black as well? Because I know people with woolly hair have a stronger concentration of sun heat genes, which is melanin, that makes the hair woolly.
Yeah.
Now, people with straight hair do not have the same type of sun genes. They're known as East Indian, they're known as, Phoenician, or whatever the case may be. And we know that Africans in Africa that were bred in Africa, they all have woolly hair.
Yeah.
So, is there a distinction between, in the book that you had, it says black and beautiful, and then black with woolly hair? And is there this difference between black people with straight hair and black people with woolly hair?
I don't know whether there is a racial difference. I don't know. I haven't made that study yet. But there were black people who have straight hair, and there are other black people who had woolly hair. The woolly haired blacks are from Africa.
Do you think they made that distinction on purpose to say that this bushy hair is woolly hair? Because in the book, if they made a distinction that this woman had black skin and woolly hair, that means they made a distinction for a reason. What do you think that reason was?
I don't recall in the reference in Song of Solomon whether they said anything about her hair. I don't recall them saying anything about her hair, but she was black and beautiful. And that is the Revised Standard Version, and I just want to say that Neanderthal, my book, took the value of it and changed that from I am black but common to I am black and common, but do they give credit to other people who do things? No, they never gave me credit for this. Now, just while we're on this, my copyright ran out after 28 years, 59, I think 7 after the, was 28 years. I couldn't copyright my title. So, guess what happened? You see this cover? Can you see that?
Yes.
No flesh shall glory. That's mine. 2 years after my copyright expired, this one came out. You see that? No flesh shall glory. That's my title. You know who wrote that? Joyce Meyer, the preacher, the televangelist. I wrote her and said, you got my title. She said that was coincidental. No, that's not coincidental. Because a co-worker with Joyce Meyer is Roberta Morrison. Get on the internet and look her up. You'll see that she's a co-worker with Joyce Meyer. And she wrote a book. Joyce Meyer simply put 4 cassettes together. This is not a book. He put 4 cassettes together and called it No Flesh Shall Glory and made it look just like mine. Roberta Morrison wrote a book, and she entitled No Flesh Shall Glory. All right. We'll have to cut this off here and get back to people.
No, it's good.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much. Brother Oliver is going to come back afterwards. But we're going to go back to Nigeria.
Hello? Hello? Uh-huh. All right. All right. It's all right. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, are we back?
We're back.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Ready? Yes. Yes, am I on?
You're on.
Okay. I wanted Professor Dumbo, who is the big expert in this audience, to listen to the presentation with
the G2J solution to Riemann hypothesis. This is particularly critical because in recent weeks you have seen a misrepresentation, and as I was saying in my presentation before, the issue is errors, creates problems. Lies create problems. Non-righteousness create problems. None of those things are necessary. So, because when we engage in that kind of thing, God is not happy. That's why God sent Gargot. Gargot is the answer to every problem. So, the theorem obviously comes from God. That's why it can answer every question. One of those questions that it has answered, beside Ebola solution, high blood pressure solution, heart problem solution, stroke solution, most of them, needing just a simple thing like water, distilled water. And I was going over why distilled water is a solution to stroke, heart problem, and other major problems like Ebola. Ebola was cured in Nigeria using what is called the gargotical medicine, which is simply distilled water, a lot of flushing of one system through distilled water. Because for anything to kill you, it has to have a concentration. If you take poison that is concentrated, you can die. Okay? If a snake bites you and the poison is concentrated, it can kill you. If your blood is too concentrated, it's hard for the heart to pump it. So in the process, you can develop a heart attack or a stroke. So that is what God has shown me through the GIJ. I have a GIJ for the human body. I have a GIJ for Africa. I have the GIJ for the African world. I have the GIJ for the whole planet. I have the GIJ for the solar system. Because it's geometry. It's geometry. So it is from that one theorem that represents every theorem. And in the Gargot language, there's only one theorem, which is the Gargot theorem. Gargot has a theorem, which is Gij, comma j equal to 0. And everything else is a corollary. That's what God has revealed to me. So, you see, 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. That's the Gargot representation. Before Gargot, they will write it as 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. But in the Gargotmatics or Gargot mathematics, you write it as 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. That 0 is a reference point that defines God. So 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 because it comes from God. That is 0. This is extremely important for everybody to understand. From an expert like Professor Dambo and non-experts like those who have never studied mathematics before, you have that common ground because what you're seeing is a definition of God. The only thing that comes from God is the truth. And that God is represented by a reference point. When none of us exist, the only God exists. That is the 0 point in the coordinate system. That's the 0 point, it's the reference point, the origin. So if you subtract any reality from itself, any truth from itself, you will get 0. So it is that Minister Clemson Brown minus Minister Clemson Brown is also 0, like 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. Once you understand, in other words, the 2 plus 1 can only equal to 3 because 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. And that 2 plus 1 minus 3 equal to 0 is the Gij for that problem. That's the Gij. If you take a change of that Gij, which is Gij comma j, because it's already 0, Gij is already 0, the change in Gij is also 0. That is the fundamental of data. That's what God has revealed to me. So it says the truth about Riemann hypothesis, the exact expression of Riemann hypothesis minus itself is also equal to 0. That's what we call G2J solution. My presentation today is not only to call on an expert like Professor Dumbo to challenge it, but even the rest of you who have never seen mathematics before to challenge it as well. And if you win by disproving what I present, then I agree you have won and I'm a liar. I'm accusing people of lying, and that's a bad thing. If you prove me to be a liar, I will accept it and I do my penance, and then I go and correct my errors. If on the other hand, you are able to see it as an absolute truth, it means the only way it can be an absolute truth is if you put the dynamics on the left-hand side, the right-hand side will be 0. That's what you do by bringing minus 3 to the side of 2 plus 1. And what is left on the right is God, that's the reference point.
0.
So 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. Professor, Abubakar minus Professor Abubakar is equal to 0. Therefore, even though 2 plus 1 minus 3 is easily verifiable, it's easy to see. When you take a complex system like a human being and also verify human being comes from God, was created by God, therefore it is a reality, it's a theorem. A human being is a theorem. So if it's a theorem, it must come from God. That's what proves it is a theorem. And of course, it will satisfy Gij, comma j equal to 0. Okay. So therefore, the solution to the Riemann hypothesis minus itself is what we call the G2J solution. So you can see that if 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 has a Gij in Dagot, and that's why it is correct, the solution to Riemann hypothesis has also a Gij, which is the G2J solution. I'd like anybody to ask questions at this point. If you disagree with that on the basis of what I just showed you there, please, I want you to tell me where you disagree. And every person in the audience. And if you still don't understand what I presented, I'm prepared to go over it again. Is there anybody that did not understand what I did with 2 plus 1 is equal to 3? I proved it. It comes from Gag of Gij, comma j equal to 0 because it's the truth. How I did that was I wrote 2 plus 1 and brought the 3 to the other side of the 2 plus 1. It becomes minus 3. So I have 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to Gij. That's the invariant of that problem. So if I take a change of that invariant, because it's already 0, the change in that already invariant 0 is also at 0. That means 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 comes out of that of Gij, comma j equal to 0. Is there anybody in the audience that is unable to understand that? I'd like to hear some comments. And if everybody understands it, I'd like everybody to say, yes, we understand.
No.
Yes, go ahead.
No.
Hello, go ahead.
No, I don't understand. I don't understand. Wait.
Excuse me?
I don't understand the equation. I don't understand, period. I'm trying to grasp on what you're talking about because I'm not taking light what you're saying. But
Okay.
I'm not taking light what you're saying, Professor. It's just that I'm not understanding the equation and I'm not understanding what you're saying about 1 plus 2 and 3. I don't understand. I'm not comprehending. Could you break it down in like talking to a first grader here?
That's right. I like to deal with that. Okay, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Do you understand that?
Right.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. That's the way you were taught. But if you take the 3 from the right hand side and bring it to the left hand side, it will be 2 plus 1 minus 3. What you left on the right hand side is 0. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. If you take 2 plus 3, it's equal to 5. You understand that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Again, take the 5 to the left hand side. You have 2 plus 3 minus 5 is also equal to 0. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0, God identifies that 0 as God, or a reference point, or evidence your answer is correct. That evidence is a person or an entity that tells the truth or proves the truth, which is God. So 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 is only true because it comes from God. It's a God order. And God only speaks the language of the truth. That's what God has decoded. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Listen. No. What?
Did you hear what I said? Hello? Hello?
He's saying that he doesn't follow what you were talking about. I take it very, I don't, just throw away these things. I think with a lot of us, we may not understand.
Okay, let me give you a third example.
Yes, I can see. Okay, on now.
Let me give you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let me give you a third example.
Okay, thank you.
Let me give you a third example. Okay? Okay. The third example is 9 plus 1. Yeah. 9 plus 1 is equal to. Yes?
The equation you have just proved can also be commutative.
Yes.
2 plus 3 can be 2 plus 1 can be commutative 1 plus 2.
Yes.
And minus 3.
Yes.
With the minus in front plus 2 plus 1 can still be 0. It's commutative. Meaning God is all round.
That's correct.
And the truth is universal.
Thank you.
It has no other meaning but one. And there's only one God.
Thank you.
So, in line with this analysis,
yes,
the black race, as you say, are intellectually superior.
Praise God.
How will developing countries such as Nigeria translate this into reality among our citizens that are facing a lot of negativism due to influence outside the black race, which you have emphasized in your hypothesis? Take the case of Boko Haram.
Yes.
The Hamas are coming in with the issue of Shiite Muslim in Nigeria.
Yes.
We need to have more information on how to neutralize the effect of this foreign negativism.
Yes.
Particularly coming from Islamic countries
Yes.
that came into Africa earlier than the white men.
Yes. Yes.
I think there's a need for you to educate blacks to accept that Adam was demographically moved by God to the Caucasoid and Mongoloid race. That's why the pollution started.
That's correct.
It is not the whites only. The Mongoloids all put themselves together to come back to Africa to really pollute the African original source, as you clearly indicated in your hypothesis and your final Gakuk theory, which is proved beyond universal error.
Yes.
Only God can disprove it. Only you who God translate can also expatiate on it.
Yes.
Professor Muhammad Jibril
Yes.
Abdullahi,
Thank you.
please expatiate as it relates to the Arab incursion into Africa for the second time through
Yes.
Boko Haram and Hamas Wahala.
Yes. As I told you, you can hear from my voice that I'm very sad about such a development. In many ways, they are reacting to Gagat. See, when they dump in money,
so we can see your face very clearly, Professor.
yeah, they are reacting to Gagat because they are thinking that we are like them. You see, first of all, in Katsina, in the 1600s, there was a world-class mathematician, African mathematician from Katsina. World-class. In 1600s. And his name was Maman Ibn Maman. They call him Muhammad Ibn Muhammad. I call him Maman because that's what I know to be our original name. Maman Ibn Maman was a world-class mathematician. But when we were either Ibn Arabic school or the Boko school, we did not hear about Maman Ibn Maman. That is where the problem begins. So it is that lies that must be changed. I would go to Borno and call on Tijani, Dr. Tijani. Some of you know who Dr. Tijani is, a mathematician. John is laughing here because he saw a video of brother Professor Tijani having fun with Gagat. And when they were listening to Gagat, there was no Boko Haram. So there has to be an industrial park. It's one of the solutions God has called for Boko Haram. There has to be jobs for black people. There has to be productivity for black people. Because God created us with the brains to be productive. The young people cannot be left doing nothing. They are too brilliant to sit idle doing nothing. That's why God gave me the solution, not only to Gargot, but to Riemann hypothesis. Riemann hypothesis would withdraw all the black people in the Boko Haram army, and they will make them professors. They will come into industrial park. I suggest that Mr. President send a delegation to come and collect some of the machines for building engines from the Fapit Industrial Park immediately. So that those youngsters, you will tell them, Professor Jibril Mahama Audu Oyibo has asked you to tell them to throw away the guns and come into the industrial park. They will listen to you. They will listen to you because they love me. They know who I am. Every black kid on the planet loves Oyibo. They want to be Audu Oyibo. That's what every black person, what every black youngster wants to be. So if you tell him, your brother and your father, Professor Gabriel Audu Oyibo, that Africans have called him Marman, Africans, that's the title the Africans gave me, Marman. And Marman is not just one dialect. First of all, there's only one African language. The rest are dialects. When you say Amma in Hausa, the Yoruba says Mami. Then the Igbo says Onyema. The same word. Ma. When you talk that to every kid from every part of Africa, they will drop the Biafran concept. They will drop Boko Haram. They will come and learn the Riemann hypothesis. They are so brilliant. I want those kids to leave the battlefield. And they will surrender the girls, the high school kids that were taking hostages. If you tell them my message, they will bring back the girls and they will come and study Riemann hypothesis. And then with that, they will build the car engines. I have machines for building car engines. And all I need is to have the ambassador come over here in our institute. We'll ship it over. And those kids will be very busy. That is the solution to Boko Haram. The young people are radicalized because they don't have anything to use their minds. They do not have a place to use their brains. They need to study and run some more numbers on Riemann hypothesis. That's why I want to present the Riemann hypothesis for them to see today. They have to see the Riemann hypothesis, which is a tool that decides the security for computers. They need to be studying that right now. They need to be building airplanes. They need to be building car engines. And like I said, I have engines right here now in the industrial park where those youngsters can do it right now, right this moment. So if Mr. President asks the ambassador to come over here, I will give them a set of machines that we use in building car engines in our industrial park. Tomorrow Boko Haram will end. Today is when God ordered me to end the Boko Haram. Today.
If you got any idea of what is happening, they're dividing Nigeria to fight against each other. Nigeria anchors the black world. Whatever happens to Nigeria happens to black people all over the planet. Nigeria anchors the black world.
So let's put it into action. Minister Brown is there. Minister Brown?
Yes, sir.
Did you see my car engine building equipment with your eyes or not?
Yes, I did.
Tell them so they can hear. You saw them, you know, where I used to build engines. That's what my youngsters made. That's what my youngsters made in Nigeria and the rest of the world. If you did that today, they will stop looking around.
Would you repeat your
Yes, I have somebody on the yes, and it's not only Nigeria, over here as well. Okay? Every youngster knows that I care about them. Every black youngster, they know that they are on my mind. And I have solutions for their problem.
We're getting a lot of feedback.
They have so much brains, they are geniuses. They don't belong on the war front. They don't belong in prison. They don't belong in special ed. They belong in the industrial park. That's where the black youth belong.
Somebody's phone is on. We're getting feedback. Somebody's phone is on.
That's precisely what we need right now.
That's better. Thank you.
Yes, that's what we need right now. And I like people to ask questions. Minister Brown, you reinforced for them that you saw my engine building equipment.
Yes, I did. Professor Oivo, can you bring your camera down a little bit so we can see your face better? Ah, there you go.
Okay. So that is how God ordered me to end Boko Haram today. So if somebody can get on this to the Mr. President and the black leaders over here, you send ambassador in here tomorrow with a boat to carry my building, and I can even operate, teach them how to build the engine right from here. So that is a solution. Now, there's sicknesses and so on and so forth, but I'm going to show you the Riemann hypothesis because there's more computations to be done. Let me show you how what I was just showing before. In other words, what God has revealed to me is that God is tired of black people being disrespected. We can't be disrespected anymore. That's why he reversed the Berlin Conference and made it into Göttingen Conference. That paper that needs to be framed, the Göttingen piece needs to be framed, and the frame of that Göttingen decision needs to be sent on to Mr. President. Every president in Africa and the diaspora must have a frame of the Göttingen ranking of mathematicians.
Somebody still has their phone on, and it's feedback. Somebody still has their phone on. We can't hear you clearly. Will everybody cut their phones down or off? In the Hangout, only you in the Hangout. Cut your phones off or down.
Right. You all understand me? You frame the Göttingen because the Göttingen Declaration is the revision of Berlin Conference. Berlin Conference, they said we were the dumbest race. They took over our land. In Göttingen, they've now declared us the most intelligent race. And now not only are they surrendering our land to us, we now own Europe and America. So there's now constructive work for the youth, the black youth to do. That's what we need to get on right now immediately, because I can deliver everything I've told you. I can deliver the engines. If you are prepared to make partnership with the puppet, we have a deal. It's done. And you see the dismantling. We had December as the deadline to end Boko Haram. So did Mr. President. So let's do it. So,
Professor.
Yes.
Professor. Oibo.
Thank you, Professor.
Mohammed. Jibrilu.
Yes, and
little angel.
And little
angel.
Amen.
Of God.
So,
God has done. God of Africa has taken over.
Yes.
Adam was the first creation, a black man.
That's right.
The greatest geniuses are black.
That's right.
The mutations and Darwinian evolutionary process and demographic movement did a lot of damage to DNA of the original man, Adam.
That's correct.
Who every race are part of Adam race.
Yes.
There's a universal truth about the uniformity of man and the perfection of creation of God. Professor Oibo.
That's correct.
Tell your audience and the world.
Yes, we call him Adamu.
Adamu.
That's right.
Adamu and Hawaii. And
that's the name. That's the name we call it, and it's from there you get the atom. Atom is Adamu. That's what the European call atom.
And by the grace of God, you will take over the research center that will handle Boko Haram in churches, in mosques, in public facilities like gardens in Abuja. Absolutely. And even in Borno, where internally displaced people are kept.
Yes.
With Miss Grill of Boko Haram.
That's correct.
We will appeal to Mr. President of Nigeria, Professor Buhari, to invite you like Professor Obasanjo to continue the struggle.
That's correct.
The struggle only started, it will continue.
That's correct.
The world will make you the Mahdi al-Muntazir.
That's right.
Muhammad Mahdi is the last savior man.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
That's profound. That is profound. That's profound. Did the audience hear what he said? That's a prophetic statement he just made. And I hope Minister Brown caught it on your video. Because right now, the YouTube has... They disconnected us, huh?
No, we're still back on.
Okay. Okay, so on that basis, therefore, we must move. That's okay. Oh, you have them? Okay, yeah. We must continue now into the phases because you see, Professor Dambo has just completed that phase of the presentation because he made a prophetic statement. What he said, only very few can understand, but it's extremely powerful. So on that note, let me present the solution to Riemann hypothesis. The Gij that represents all truths, which is Gargot. You take a piece of it, which is the G2J, is the exact infallible solution to Riemann hypothesis. So if I have your permission, I'm going to show you that right now. Yeah, go to GIJ first. We'll start from there and then we'll move on to Riemann hypothesis. Okay. No, I'm not showing this here, right?
No, no.
Okay. Yeah.
It's there, but it's not.
Yeah, show me the. Okay, this one. Okay. 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 You see that?
See the equation.
Can everybody see the equation there? Can everybody see Gij, comma j equal to 0?
G is God.
Yes. G.
Does everyone see the equation?
The equation there on the screen, can you see it? Okay. That's where the answers to every problem in the whole universe comes from. I already showed you that 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 comes from there. And like Professor Dambo said, he used the commutative techniques also to verify the same thing. If you take 2 plus 5, 2 plus 3 equal to 5, it also comes from there, because 0 is the representation of where all that came from. That 0 is God. Anything that is true comes from God. So, and because what you want in the Riemann hypothesis is the truth. What Riemann did was to guess a truth. When you guess, the guess comes along with it a faith. You have to have a faith when you guess, because that's all you got really, your faith. You have some logic in it, but you can't really verify it for sure. That's why, that's for scientists. Mathematicians are supposed to be about absolute truth, theorems. That's why I got decoded mathematics to be the study of theorems, infallible truth, God's order, God's language, what God says. Because if God says, it happens.
I have a question about the.
Yeah, there's an Arabic statement which is good. God says, and it is. Okay? So the point is, that's what this is. Because when God says something, it's a reality. It must happen. God said, and we came into existence. That's why we are reality. So that was what God captured in this equation and handed it to me. So out of it, when you do 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, or 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0, and then you take the change in that is also 0, those are easy for you to see. But this is the same equation, a similar equation that describes the complexity of a human being. So if I take a human being, because it's a reality, it will have a Gij. That is, the human being minus him or herself is also equal to 0. It's an exact representation. So you take a change of it, it's also equal to 0. Out of that change comes a geometric description for you to go inside that complex human being and find out every component, and you decompose it into simple components, and you will understand that human being.
Anytime a positive number going down.
That is what God represents. Therefore, I pull out the truth, the theorem of God about Riemann hypothesis, and I call it G2J, because okay, go to the next. Okay, go to the next. Okay, the solution.
Let's
wait to the end and then we'll take the question.
Yes, yes. This is what is on your screen.
Can you see the new equation on your screen, everyone?
Yeah.
Can you see the equation? Eta sub n is equal to gnj xi xj n to power x to power n plus 1. That is what you call, that's what you call the building block. In mathematics, they call it fundamental solutions. Fundamental solutions. So with that fundamental solution, I can construct every reality, every complexity in any creature, including the Almighty God. That's the kind of understanding that God has given to the black people. That's why now the world must respect. Okay? Everyone must respect black people now. Out of this little formula here is the building block for every complex solution, like the Riemann hypothesis solution. And that is where Riemann, the details of the Riemann G2J is constructed. And for the Riemann, the n is 0. When n is equal to 0, that's the building block for constructing the details of the Riemann invariant, which is G2J. Exactly. So, we're going to see how I have given you a perfect equation, that's Gij, comma j equal to 0, that gives all the truth about everything. And then the building block for constructing every reality, which is this one here. That's the fundamental solution. So in mathematics, if you are blessed with the perfectly correct equation, and God has given you a perfectly fundamental solution, then you have solved the whole problem of the world. So now we're going to try that out with the Riemann hypothesis with the G2J solution. That is what we're going to do before your eyes. And since you can see how G2J has already been solved through Gargot and recognized by Göttingen, which recognizes Gargot as the one theorem that represents all theorems, including Riemann hypothesis theorem, then you see now how we're going to go and construct the Riemann hypothesis solution. Let's move now to the, just, set that up, put a, the first Riemann piece.
Okay. Just everyone prepare. We're going to now go into the Riemann hypothesis solution. Just hold for a second. Just 1 second. Just 1 second.
Everybody want to get a cup of coffee.
Yes.
Y'all get into this speculation. I'm gonna pass.
All right. I can listen now. Can everyone now see the new page that's up?
Can you see the page that's up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That is a solution. That is the paper. This came out of the paper that will show the details of the Riemann hypothesis. This page defines what is the Riemann hypothesis. And the title of the paper is God Almighty's Grand Unified Theorem. God is put number 1. God, Gij, comma, J equal to 0, has revealed proven solution to the Riemann hypothesis, a Clay Mathematics Millennium Problem, by yours truly, on your behalf. Now, these are the details you're going to be seeing. First, we're going to define what is a Riemann hypothesis. There's something called a zeta function, that is equation 10-1. That's what is called a zeta function. In that zeta function, you have what is called a series. Don't be scared. Okay, it's going to come out neat. You see, black people present things because of their intelligence in ways that are simple. Other people put it in a very convoluted form. That's how you see. See, this is dirtier than the Gij, comma, J equal to 0. The difference is this came from non-blacks. The Gij, comma, J equal to 0 is for black people. That's why it's neater, it's more elegant. Anyway, what is the summation? That's a summation sign there. Okay, the thing there is a summation sign. That's a summation. That's something that we focus on. That's a summation. You're summing a series, what is called a series. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is called series. Okay? So you have R is in the bottom and 1 divided by R, which is a number, like 1, 2, 3. And then it's to power S. And you're summing that for every R from 2, number 2, to infinity. So zeta function is defined by that equation. That's a zeta function. What makes it complicated is that S is defined as a complex number, which is x plus iy. Okay? Now, when you are at this point, I know most of you will be flabbergasted. Only Professor Dambo can follow. And perhaps engineer Dairu. Okay? Maybe a couple, and of course, Brother Cy Hearn, as a brilliant brother. Is Cy in the audience?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Professor, is Dr. Dambo with us in Nigeria? Is he still with us?
Dr. Dembo, are you still here?
Dembo moved to MOX, and his engineer Dahiru is on.
What? It's not here?
Yeah, Professor Dembo moved to MOX, and I'm here with you.
Well, what happened to Professor Dembo?
Is he coming back?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can wait for him.
Going to pray.
I understand. So
yeah,
I think we can wait for him. Let's go over some of the things that we were saying before for those of you who did not understand. Let me go back to the fundamental, and we'll return back to this in a little bit. Okay? Because I like Professor Dembo to be here. Okay? Now, what I was saying before, for those who we're unable to go from 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, which is what you are familiar with. Now I said you should write 2 plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. And there was a brother there that was trying to navigate it. I'd like him to return to his question while we're waiting for Professor Dambo. Okay?
He's here.
Okay.
Question again?
All right, he's going to ask you the question again.
Yes, please let him ask me a question. Because I want to carry everybody along with us. This is a journey.
Yeah, once again, Professor.
Yes.
I'm clueless. Everybody is getting it, but I'm not. I can understand E equals mc squared. E equals energy, mass, and squared. But I'm having difficulty with our own people's equation with the 2 plus 1, take away 3, and the connection with the equation with the numbers. I'm having difficulty. Maybe I'm the only one in the room, but if I don't get it, I don't get it. Maybe it'll be in the book form and I can read it, or I'll get somebody who can break this down to me in a first grade term.
I think you first need to explain the G-I-J expression. What does the G mean? What does the I mean? What does the J, what does the comma, and the other J mean? So that we can understand just not plugging in numbers. Because if you say 2 plus 1 equals 3 equals 0, it's like, okay, is the G the 2? Is the I the plus sign? Is the J the 1? Is the comma? What you have to break down what that, what the theory is.
That's correct. Well, we want to go from one notation system. That is, before Gagat, you were used to having 2 plus 1 is equal to 3.